in a baking pan and was ready to put it in the oven. I didn't see the dough. I didn't see the hot oven. All I could see was cake. I can envision cake with icing. And God doesn't look at you as an uniced cake. Or He doesn't look at you as a bowl of batter. He looks at you as the finished product. The most beautiful, exquisite wedding cake that you've ever seen. He looks at you and all your grandeur. I want to say that again. He looks at you and all your grandeur. You say, what grandeur is that? That which He is doing in you. The work that He began in you, He is faithful to complete it. I say He's faithful to complete it. And no matter how hard you run, no matter how far you may get, just as Jonah ran and had intended on going maybe 600, 1,000, or 1,400, or 2,000 miles away. We don't really know how far he planned on going, but God met him on the path. He even left the path and got on the boat, and God was in the boat. And God was in the water, and God was in the fish, and Jonah ended up in the fish too. So God will fulfill His plan in your life if you allow Him. I say God will fulfill His plan in your life if you allow Him.
Amen.
Oh, Jesus. Help us, Lord. Help us to stop complaining all the time. Help us to stop worrying all the time. Help us to stop distrusting You. Lord, help us. Do you understand that God loves you? I wish you had a mirror in your hand right now. Because if you had a mirror, I'd ask you to pull it out and look at it. And I wouldn't care if that mirror was scratched up. I wouldn't care if it's one of those little children's mirror that's all flimsy and not very reflective. But if you would look at that mirror, and even if you can just see a vague image of yourself, or you might even see an accurate image of yourself, and you might even see all the flaws. I heard someone say, I read it one time a couple years ago, they said, I believe we have ghosts in the house. Every time I look in the mirror, there's an old person staring back. See, every time you look in that mirror, you might see all the flaws that you have. But I want you to know that with all the flaws, with all the weaknesses, with all the displeasant features you have, God loves you. And God takes care of His own. I like what David said. You know, I'm reading a book on David, and the brother brought out a good point. He said David had to lose all his crutches. And he starts talking about how David was just a little shepherd boy when he was anointed to be king. And he was then called into Saul's kingly castle, his palace rather, his chambers, the king's chambers, play music to calm the king down from the evil spirit that was tormenting him. He later became a great military man after slaying the giant. Was given the wife of the king and supposedly great riches. Then all of a sudden one day the king got jealous of David. Because see, they began to attribute to the king hundreds, but thousands, no thousands, but 10,000s to David. And so one day David's sitting there in the king's chamber, and next thing you know, the spear flew past his head. And David had to flee for his life. And here's what David had to lose as his crutch. Number one, he had to lose the security of a job. He was getting paid handsomely for being the leader of the king's army. He was getting paid handsomely for being able to sue the king. So he had to lose the crutch of a secure position. He had to lose the crutch of a home to live in. He had to lose the crutch of his wife. Remember, his wife told him, "Get out of here." When Daddy comes, she said, "Oh, he told me he would kill me if I didn't save his life." And so their relationship was never the same after that. And so he lost the crutch of having a companion. And then he lost the crutch of having his best friend Jonathan, who was his counsel. He lost the crutch of a counsel. You say, but Jonathan was still his best friend. Jonathan still loved him and was still in relationship. Yeah, but he was on the run and Jonathan was with the king. So he lost all of these crutches, and he even got to the point where he lost his dignity when he went to the enemy's camp and had to pretend like he was a madman to prevent from being killed. So he had to lay aside all his crutches and had to learn to trust in God. I want you to listen to me, Dennis, before you go. I want everybody to listen to me. There comes a time in your life that God will rip the crutch right out from under you. He'll take your job from you. He'll take your home from you. He'll take your spouse from you. He'll take everything that has made you comfortable so that you will learn to trust in Him. And if you get angry at Him for taking everything out, if you don't want to learn the lesson that God's trying to teach you, then I fear for your very soul. Are you listening to me, folks? He's trying to mold you. He's trying to shape you. He's trying to develop you. He's trying to make you a rock. He's trying to make you a rock. Just as you stand on the rock, Jesus Christ, He wants you to be a foundation for others' lives. He wants you to be a foundation for others. Be careful, Dennis, where you go. Dennis has to go to work. Are you listening to me? He wants you to be a foundation for others. Others who are walking on sand. Others that are flimsy. Others that are failures. He wants to use you by your relationship with the rock. He wants to make you that little rock. Remember He called Peter? He said, "You're Peter." And Peter meaning little rock. Petros, little rock. Or a chip off the old block. How many of you know that He wants to make you a chip off the old block? How many of you know that if you take a piece of granite and you chip it off, it may not be the same size as the big block, but it's still the same block, piece of rock.
Right. That's where that comes from.
It's still a piece of granite. It might just be a chip, but it's a chip of granite. He wants to make you a chip off the old block. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be His holy